said, what a day, fresh after your, I don't want to say showdown because I don't think it really was. I'll just say an encounter with Simon.
I thought you were going to say shutout. You know,
oh, it was as good as a shutout.
No. It was good. Yeah, it was. I've had a very positive response. I mean, it's unusual that I'm more popular than someone, and it just seems that in general I'm slightly more popular than Simon Jordan. I think it's close, but I tried to stay calm. I think he got very rattled, but he's very good. I mean, as I said, like he's much brighter than me. But what I just kept saying was, more actually, probably about every subject in the world than me, but not about boxing. Like, you can't just all of a sudden go mobile phone seller, football club owner, boxing industry expert. Like, he's just, over the last few months, he's done his research and he knows more than most, but you can't just disregard my comments and opinions and factual comments and opinions. So I kept trying to revert to that, and he made a lot of valid points. He's very good at what he does. I mean, the numbers were huge. As I said to him, I think I should have got an appearance fee, really.
Because I'm amazed you didn't.
I said to him, I've done you a right favour. I can't remember if this was. By the way, we were going at it in the breaks, non-stop, like much more personal during that that period. And I just said to him, I said, you should be thanking me. I said, I'm delivering you unbelievable numbers. I don't care about the numbers. I said, of course you do. You're a disc jockey. I said, your job depends on the numbers, like me. I said, we're all about the numbers, aren't we? So it was really good. Like, I was a bit flustered at times. He was a bit flustered at times, and I think all in all it was good. I probably should have done it sooner, but hopefully now that's another line through the situation. Still a lot to talk about, but we've been talking about it every day for 6 months. So that was a good little blow up yesterday.
It's been and gone now and past, and I think we just need to move forward and look at the events coming forward with regards to Conor Benn. Wait for the announcements on his fight and let's just go from there.
Yeah, I still think, I do think in time, when ego dissolves from both sides, that he needs to sit down with a board and I want him to fight in this country, and I think he should. So, but at the moment, I don't believe, he doesn't believe, and with his ensuing legal action as well, that he would get a fair hearing, if you like, from the British Boxing Board of Control. They've already showed in his opinion that he wouldn't. So, but again, look, he's going to fight June the 3rd, and then we will, hopefully move on.
Spot on. Other news, just as important in my opinion, Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron. Wow.
Yeah, tremendous fight. I mean, people keep asking me, why is women's boxing in the position it's in? Why are we seeing such a fierce growth? And the answer is because the fighters are willing to take the biggest challenges, to jump divisions, to fight other undisputed champions. I mean, you imagine, like in the male code, where you've got a champion, right, who is in a mega fight, and then that falls through, and then they just call out the undisputed champion in the division above straight off the bat, and then the fight gets made in a couple of hours. Like, people, there is a real perception that promoters stop big fights or don't want big fights. This is where we're in our element. This is where we make our money. This is what drives subscriptions. This is what sells tickets. But you need the fighters, and more likely the teams, to be on the same page. And here you have Katie Taylor, who just called it out on social media, the first time in her career. And I believe this is arguably a tougher fight than Amanda Serrano. Chantelle Cameron is bigger, she's fresher, she punches harder, in my opinion. She's always believed she can beat Katie Taylor, and the bookies have Katie Taylor a small favourite at home. It's a tremendous matchup.
It's a very, very good matchup. I'm not sure she's a bigger puncher than Serrano, but I think
Serrano's a featherweight, and I know she's been through the weights, but she can punch at lightweight. But Chantelle is a big, strong light welterweight, and Katie Taylor's moving up. She's not even a big lightweight, really. But I think it's a tremendous fight.
I think it's interesting. I think Chantelle Cameron has still got it all to prove. Katie Taylor's actually got nothing left to prove. I think she wants to go up in weight. She wants to challenge herself, and this is the perfect challenge. On home soil, I do understand why she's favourite, but anyone would be a fool if they'd underestimate Jamie Morden's tactics going into fights. He's a brilliant coach. You know, he's very, very clever, very, very wise, and he sets out brilliant, stringent game plans. And I think he'll have one already well and prepared for Katie Taylor, and it'll be fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and they're really confident, really confident. Like, I think people in boxing have always felt like that's Katie Taylor's hardest fight coming up over the next couple of years. They've always talked about it. They've always said to me, "Oh, Katie will never fight Chantelle. Like, you know, there's too much to lose in that fight." And I've said to Chantelle, if you become unified, if you rack up belts, if you build your profile, you will get that fight, because I know Katie will take that fight. She wants that fight. And lo and behold, she becomes undisputed champion and we make the fight. And that just shows you the reason, as I said, women's boxing, just the best fighting the best consistently and continuously.
The crazy thing is that she beat Chantelle Cameron. Where does she go next? Alicia Baumgardner?
Yeah, I think there's only the other two fights are Serrano reschedulement and Alicia Baumgardner. You know, then if she boxed Chantelle, beats her and beats Alicia Baumgardner, she would have beat the undisputed champion at 126, 130, and 140, and she's the undisputed at 135.
That's nuts.
I mean, it's impossible in the sport of boxing. So, you know, she's incredible, and homecoming in Ireland on May 20th will be unbelievable.
Be absolutely huge. I want to talk a little bit about the announcement that we've heard today. Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk looks to be dead in the water. What's your opinion?
I mean, I don't believe it's dead. I think it's probably dead for April 29. I mean, it is only 5 weeks away this Saturday.
Insane.
So, but you never know with Tyson Fury. Like I've felt before that he wouldn't be taking the Deontay Wilder fight, and he did. And you know, I think he's called. There's a lot of similarities here between the AJ stuff and the Usyk stuff. I mean, firstly, when you look at Usyk, I cannot believe that Oleksandr Usyk has accepted 70-30 in this spot, right? Fair play to him. Unbelievable. Now, he's almost called Fury's bluff after Fury called his bluff, and now they've got down the line in the deeper points and can't reach an agreement. With the AJ stuff, AJ accepted 60-40, but AJ said, and we said, the date must be December 17. Now Tyson Fury came back and said, no, it has to be December 3 or there's no fight, because I'm fighting Usyk in February, right? Funnily enough, we're in March now, right? But anyway, I couldn't believe they wouldn't give him the extra 2 weeks. And I think they felt there's no way that Anthony Joshua would accept that fight on December 3rd. He's just coming off the Usyk defeat, etc., etc. AJ said, we'll go December 3. We then went back, and lo and behold, things broke down from there. Similarities, coincidence, who knows? But for me, Usyk has proved that he will take the short end of it. I mean, don't forget, Frank Warren openly went on TalkSport a couple of weeks ago, even, or a month ago, and said, easy fight to make, 50-50. And my perception would be 50-50. I think most people's perception would be, you know, for sure, Fury is the bigger name commercially, but Usyk has all the belts other than one. 60-40, I think, very fair deal. 70-30, Fury swung the channel, but they still can't get it over the line. So we'll have to see. Look, ask yourself this: who do you believe, Tyson Fury or Oleksandr Usyk? You
and I both know how easy the Usyk team is to deal with.
Yeah, very easy. I mean, we made your fight. Obviously, I've just made 2 back-to-back fights with Anthony Joshua. No complaints, no funny games, nothing. But he's also, the one thing I'll say about Usyk is he obviously doesn't care as much about the money as Fury, because he wouldn't have taken that deal if he did. But he's also a man of principle. And it's one thing taking less money than you feel you deserve, but when you feel you've been disrespected, he will walk away and out of principle. You know, as much as he wants this fight, he's the kind of individual that out of principle would say no. And I felt like 70-30 was the moment to say no out of principle, but fair play to him. He accepted those terms.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. And by the way, if this fight doesn't get made, I want to sit down with George Warren, and God willing, AJ comes through Jermaine Franklin on April 1st. I want to go straight into that fight. AJ against Tyson Fury. Why not? You know, it's financially a much bigger fight for Tyson Fury than Oleksandr Usyk. It's the biggest fight in world boxing by a mile.
Yeah.
But first, AJ's got to go and do a job April 1st. But if he does, and this Usyk fight don't get made, I think we should be kicking and screaming for that fight. And sometimes things happen that enable fights that you never thought could happen to happen. And maybe this is one of those moments.
Fingers crossed. I mean, we're all hoping for that. Lastly, I'd love to speak to you about, you know, I've seen him up close and personal. I've seen him in his new training camp with Derek James, the new trainer. AJ Franklin is literally, 10 days away?
Yeah.
And we're getting closer and closer, and everyone's got questions. Everyone wants answers. And for me, AJ looked absolutely brilliant, working extremely hard under Derek James. What did you gather of watching him in the gym, and what do you think about April the 1st?
Well, he's definitely worked hard because he was very tired when I arrived. He was flying home that night. The one thing that struck me was the difference in surroundings. You know, AJ, who's trained most of his career at the EIS, the Olympic Institute, then moved to Loughborough. It's like God, really, you know, and not what he wanted, but he almost got his own way in those camps because people were just prepared to say, what are we doing, AJ? What, you know, now it's like you just turn up and you get beasted and then you go home. You know, his house, the surroundings of the gym itself, you couldn't get more humble in terms of the surroundings compared to what he's used to. And I think it's what he needs in his life. I think it shows people, if you're prepared to move that way, you still want it. You know, and there's a lot of pressure on this fight, and I'm nervous, I'm excited, and I just hope that he can put together the performance that he deserves. But that's the brutal thing about boxing and sport, is you can do all the work. What matters is April the 1st at 10 p.m. at the O2 Arena. And if he doesn't put it together, he could get beat by Jermaine Franklin. And if he gets beat by Jermaine Franklin, it's a disaster, in all honesty. So I'm nervous but excited. And I really feel like this guy, you know, he's just got to believe in himself. You know, I remember after the Usyk fight, you know, I said to him, be proud of that performance, mate. Like, you got beat by the pound for pound #1 and you were winning the fight after 9 rounds. You know, after 9 rounds, I ran over to the corner. I thought, we've got this fight. It's won. And then Usyk just produced one of the best championship round finishes I've ever seen in a fight. But you lost to the pound for pound #1. And by the way, you fought him twice.
Yeah, back to back.
You big bald balls, not bald. You big balls. Make sure you bleep that out as well. But that's what I'm saying. He doesn't get the credit.
No.
Back to back with Usyk. The first time everyone said, I think you as well, Tony, might have said to me, oh, don't let him fight him. The first time around. And you know, you would never want to vacate a belt, but you were worried about that fight for AJ. Everybody was. He said, no, he's the mandatory. I want to be undisputed. He fought him. Afterwards, everyone, don't fight him again. Oh, he got schooled. He should never fight him again. Bang, straight into the rematch. Back to back. No 70s dirty. No, you know, no, like, you know, all this stuff. It was simple. So I want to see him. And I said to him, you got no fear, mate. You fought all of these guys, right? And you are an elite heavyweight. You know, I sat there with him, watched White against Franklin. And I said to him during the fight, what do you think? He said, yeah, good fight. I said, no. What do you think, what you would do if you were in there? Because what I was seeing was world-class level to what I believe is elite level in AJ. And I expect him to show those levels on April 1st. And this isn't, you know, oh, I hope, I pray, you know, he's such a good guy, he's worked so hard, I hope he gets what he deserves. Go out there and tear him to pieces. Yeah, be the AJ that we know. Because I said to him in Dallas, you do realise when you let your hands go, you put the fear of Christ in a man in the other corner. So be that guy. Go in there and dominate. And that's what I expect. You know, and Derek James, great trainer, great camp, everything's perfect. Now go and do a job.
It comes down to him, Ed. You know, you can have the best trainer in the world, you can have the best sports scientists, the best trainers, the best coaches, strength and conditioning. Ultimately, nothing matters until the lights come on and you're in the ring. And on April the 1st, I do believe he will show that. But it's been a battle, and it's been tough for him because he's had to overcome so many different things. And I don't just mean in the boxing ring, I mean just away from boxing. Things like, you know, the way the carry on after the fight, the way people went on about it, deemed him out of control and stuff like that. He's had so much to contend with, and this boy's been living in the spotlight, and I mean under severe spotlight, since 2012. The minute he brought home that Olympic gold medal, it's been nothing but pressure. On April the 1st, I'm going to be happy to see him under less pressure from a media perspective, but I think he'll be under even more pressure from a personal level, because he will want to perform.
He wants to win so bad. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to perform.
And that's the hard part, mate, because no one knows you can do all that work. We've just got to wait and see on April the 1st. I can't wait. Thank you for joining me, mate, and I will catch you next week.
Cannot wait. Anthony Joshua, live on DAZN. You know how to watch via your handset, via your laptop, via your device, via your smart TV, and now Sky 429, whatever you need, baby.